Hey everyone, welcome back for another video of music from the amazing Adventures of Elliot soundtrack. I am so in love with this game. Can't wait to talk more about it. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Patti. I'm a classically trained violinist turned studio producer and musician, as well as a lifelong gamer, and I just love talking about video game music and what makes it so special. So I hope you will enjoy this ride with me as we discuss more music from this incredible soundtrack. Today we're going to be going over the music from Huther Castle, as well as the themes for Hucarea, both Age of Safekeeping and Age of Reconstruction, because I think it's really cool how they tied those together and the differences between them. Here we go. So colorful right away. That string line. Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right there. It does not get any more classical music than this, folks, all right? We have a very traditional, but like later Romantic era Viennese waltz, which when we talk about waltz, we could say that the main theme was a waltz, but this is like a Viennese waltz. This is a waltz that is meant for dancing to chum-cha, chum-cha, chum-cha. It's the kind where you imagine like a royal ball. You imagine people in big poofy dresses, you know, spinning around the dance floor. It also brings to mind regal elegance, right? It's interesting because lots of other castles in games that I can think of are more in a rigid 4/4, maybe almost more like march-like. Think of like Hyrule Castle, for example. This is very different. It's more like the royal ball. It's just really interesting choice, but it also sounds super triumphant, which is very appropriate for this because this is like the age of safekeeping, and like, at least until things started going wrong, things were very happy in this kingdom, you know? This opening, this very colorful opening, also kind of reminds me of Berlioz Symphonie Fantastique, especially the little scale that goes down. And also just the way that it has this like very prominent violin line that just kind of keeps flowing along. It's just, ooh, nice little horn line, but other than that, it's all violins here. Just listen to the counter melody and the horn. This octave jump. Let me tell you, that is not easy. They had to like jump all the way up to a high C, and you can hear the slide, which we call that a portamento, when you can hear the sound between one note and another. And it just gives it more of a romantic edge. You know, it's not as clean as like if this were imitating Mozart. It's much more schmaltzy and like romantic era. The melody is also has an interesting contour to it. Like it's basically going up and then down and up and then down and up, kind of in this like stepwise motion. Like here. But it also has these other moments where it's like, it's just kind of all over the place, right? Because you could write it as, but instead it's adding these little leaps here and there give it much more of an expressive quality. By the way, when I said before that it gives me like romantic era vibes, I meant mostly that it really sounds like Tchaikovsky. Two pieces in particular, and one of them is the Serenade for Strings in C major, which has a waltz movement, and you could like actually stitch these two together and it would work because da da dum ba da 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 dum pum. It has a very similar contour, the way it introduces itself, and just like the very nature of the string lines is very Tchaikovsky. part. This is so Tchaikovsky. It is so Tchaikovsky, both in terms of the orchestration, the way that the wind lines are used and the strings, but also this kind of like circle of fifths back and forth. The dialogue between the instruments and the way that it's just kind of like flowing along in this little circle of fifths progression is so much like Waltz of the Flowers from the Nutcracker. Yeah, it immediately made me think of that. A little heavier here. Building up to something big. Oh. So triumphant. It's just so gorgeous, and I just love the way that it just builds up into that. It's just, oh, it's just so triumphant and grand, and again, just, you know, it's very regal without being very squared off, which I love. It still has this movement, which seems to be so important to this soundtrack as a whole, that have this kind of like flowing, moving quality. So classically inspired and absolutely gorgeous. So colorful. Oboe solo. Beautiful string line underneath supporting it. It's a Celtic whistle here. Kind of Wind Waker vibes. I like that harmonic shift there. So we have this beautiful opening. It definitely sounds so tranquil for our first overworld theme in the game. It has this kind of Celtic flair to it with these like whistles on top. Actually, in the interview with the composers, they said Celtic flutes. I'm assuming that means whistles, but if anyone can chime in that has more experience with woodwinds than me. I know it's not really the same, but it kind of makes me think of Wind Waker, just that kind of like Celtic vibes, and just the way that it makes me feel. I noticed that the soundtrack as a whole does have a lot of Celtic vibes to it. It draws a lot of influence from that, for sure. Castanets again. It's little ticky-tickies in the background. Just adding sparkle. There's a little bassoon you can hear too. So much color in the woodwinds. Of course, guitars, adding a lot of color as well. Flute and cello duet. Now oboe. Call and response. It's just so beautifully written. First, the flute asks a question with the cello supporting, and then the oboe responds. Then the flute and violins together, which, by the way, flute and violin is such a good combination. They just blend in perfectly together and in such a supportive way. I love that. It's just such a beautiful sound. This sounds a little Octopath-y to me. More Celtic vibes with the solo violin. Also makes me think of Harvestella. Back to the whistle. So beautiful. It's so uplifting and optimistic, and the key of D is just very bright and sunny. I don't know how else to say it. It just fits this first overworld section so well, I think, to set the tone of the game. I love all the Celtic influence between like the whistle and the fiddle stuff. Again, I hate to say it. It does recall Octopath soundtrack, but it also reminds me of Harvestella. It has a lot of that Celtic influence, and I just absolutely love it. Castanets, again, just such a colorful choice. There's just so much going on, and it just adds so much sparkle to this sound. I just absolutely adore it. Now, let's contrast that with Hucarea from the Age of Reconstruction. It's so cool sounding. Totally different vibe. That viola. It sounds so different from the Age of Safekeeping version that we just heard, right? It definitely sounds more, I'm going to say open, but not necessarily, I don't know how to describe this, but open harmonically. So instead of... It's much more open in the harmonies, like lots of open fifths and parallel fifths. So it sounds like it's meant to be more like primitive or just rough and modern. Modern in the sense of just like the way that you wouldn't use that kind of voice leading in something that was more early era classical. Hucarea Safekeeping was not really classical, it was more folksy and Celtic, but still same thing kind of applies, that it's a totally different style. And also this little B natural here. It's very interesting, but also orchestrationally. So it sounds like we have a piano quintet, which, by the way, a piano quintet is not 5 pianos. It's what we call a string quartet plus piano. It sounds like that's what we have here. And I just love that so much. I love this kind of intimate chamber setting we have, because before it was very sparkly and there were a lot of different instruments with a lot of different colors. But here we have a lot of very similar colors. We have just strings and piano. It's a very homogeneous sound, even though harmonically it's a little bit more adventurous. By the way, if you like this track, you should check out the soundtrack for Echochrome. This is a game that like no one has heard of, but it has an entirely string quartet and piano quintet soundtrack, and it is just amazing. Sounds very similar in style to this track, and it just really made me think of that when I heard it, especially the way that the viola is featured. Everyone really gets to shine in this one. Notice though how the piano part is... And the beginning of Age of Safekeeping, also, the piano is still the same. It has that same kind of accompaniment part, even though the vibe is totally different. I love the way that they reimagined this one for this era. The string harmonics on top too. Cello part, very rough. Viola's really getting the main counter line here. Such a cool sound. Now we're pseudo lick right there. This part sounds a lot like Echochrome, this style. It's so gorgeous. Now this change in the texture. The piano. Viola. And that's our loop. I just noticed this time, but did you hear how the viola was going kind of in that Celtic vibe that the fiddle was doing in the Age of Safekeeping, but it sounds so different here? Yeah. So we have this melody that we have here. The Mitsuda lick, if you're unaware. But this motif appears in a lot of the overworld tracks. Can't remember specifically right now because I'm still picking it apart, but I hear it a lot in the other ones. And I suppose it comes from the main theme, but if it does, it's like really subtle the way that it comes there. Just so smooth. Everything is smooth. And now piano, just really mixing it up there. There's that little Celtic vibe again. Also to note, our harmony is mostly these kind of open fifths. We don't get a really strong sense of major or minor here. It's not, or it's definitely not that, but it's not even minor. It really keeps the harmony more ambiguous and less directional. But when we get to this section here, B, G minor 7, C7. Thankfully, we get to hear the accompaniment all by itself if you go to the menu, so G minor 7. C major. You hear how the harmony is more directional here? Oh, it's just so gorgeous, the way that it is both the same and yet totally different from the version from the Age of Safekeeping. Just absolutely beautiful. I love how so many tracks in this soundtrack are based on each other or rearrangements of each other, and yet it always sounds really fresh, and it's not like the first thing you notice when you hear it. It took me a while to pick up on the fact that they were doing that, because each version just sounded like its own distinct voice, and I just absolutely love that. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas of tracks you would like me to cover in the future, please leave them down below. I'll leave a link up here with all my other Elliot videos, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.